Alright everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Matty here from Chill TCG. It's that time of the month again. We're going to be taking a look at the 10 best decks in the standard format going into the month of February 2020. And as always, all of the tournament statistics were gathered by Cashmanderman and Pokestats.com. The Pokestats CP rankings are from the weeks of January 4th through January 31st, and the CP is based off top cut placements from all of the online ptcgo events throughout the entire month of January. You can check out Cashman 27 there on Twitter at Cashman27, and you can check out Pokestats.com at ptcgstats.com. All right, and to start off our list, at number 10, we have Decidueye at 414 Pokestats CP. Now, Decidueye, I wrapped it up here with Decidueye Goons and straight Decidueye. For a little bit there, people were playing straight Decidueye, but for now, it seems that the Decidueye and Obstagoon variant is the most common variant. People are running a heavier focus on Decidueye, running maybe like a 3 count of those with maybe just one Obstagoon in the deck. But this deck is still very impressive. It's one of these decks that you definitely need to tech for. If you don't prepare for Decidueye, you're probably not going to have a good time. We see a lot of people playing Aegislash in Luke Metal and sometimes even ADP as well. And of course, it really can wall plenty of decks, and that's the reason why Decidueye is probably still on this list at number 10. It hasn't had any two incredible placements over this past month. We see that it got second at Chill Series 15 with Gabe Shumway there, fourth at the Hexter Season 3 number 20, fourth at Atlas Mini number 12, fifth at the Hexter Season 3 number 22, and it got sixth at the Mew Squad number 5 there. So, it's definitely not terrible. It's one of these decks where, it's never going to probably see too much success as long as welder decks like Scorch and maybe even Blissful are still popular right now in the format, but really it still has a really good matchup against plenty of decks, and for that reason I think that Decidueye definitely deserves to be on this list, and I'm not surprised that it made number 10 here. As always, like I said, the straight Decidueye variant is probably still pretty relevant, but for the most part, people are still playing Obstagoon. Rosa is extremely useful in this deck list, and people are actually playing, they're not running switch cards in Decidueye. They're running just a 4 of Bird Keeper, which actually goes really well with that Rowlet card from Darkness Ablaze with the ability, I think it's with the attack there, which, you don't have to attach energies to use that attack if you used Bird Keeper this turn. So Bird Keeper is actually a really good card in Decidueye, and it can work out the math a lot of times with Rowlet there, doing that 60 damage. For no energy, it's actually pretty clutch. Overall, this deck list is pretty impressive. It's not, probably my number 1 choice for decks when it comes to sort of control or kind of locking your opponent down, but still impressive. So shout out to Decidueye at number 10. And coming in at our number 9 spot, we have Rillaboom Raug. So the grass decks here showing up at the bottom of our list. Rillaboom Raug is actually, in my opinion, a really cool deck. It's really fun. It came in at 546 Pokestats CP this month. The placements haven't been phenomenal, but for the most part, it seems to be pretty consistently placing within the top 32s, top 16s, and sometimes even top 8s. This list is absolutely it's super funny. In my opinion, Rillaboom is a really good energy acceleration engine, and it goes really well with Rowlet and Alolan Executor GX here. This deck has evolved a lot recently in the past few months, and I'm not exactly sure who was sort of the first one to bring this, this Rillaboom box type deck into the forefront of the meta. But for right now, it's actually, appearing to be a pretty significant player right now. Number 9 on the list, still pretty impressive here. It got second at Stone Series number 3, second at the Revi Lagoon number 1, 9th at Mew Squad number 5, 10th at Full Grip number 9, and 12th at Hexter Season 3 number 22. Now, most of these tournaments aren't, I guess, some of the biggest tournaments right now that we have on the online tournament scene. But, for right now, these sort of 50 to 150, player tournaments, Rillaboom Raug has actually been pretty impressive. We're going to take a look at one of the lists here, and it's actually interesting when you look at this. So it is sort of categorized as a Raug deck, which is probably the main attacker, probably the main tool card that this deck runs. However, it's implemented a variety of other cards. Of course, Mewtwo GX is a card that actually goes very well in this deck list. It kind of gets rid of that fire weakness, which is very nice, but it also gives you access to use some other attacks from other attacking Pokemon, things like Vileplume GX and whatnot. Some decks aren't running Mewtwo, so it's not a card that necessarily you need to play in this deck. Some people are just focusing around Raug, and they're introducing a few other attackers that aren't GX Pokemon, like Double V. Double V is actually extremely impressive of an attacker, and with Rillaboom, it's pretty easy to accelerate energy to double. You can do it in one turn practically, right? And double can be a very good late game sweeping attacker there. It's also pretty bulky, so this deck is pretty fun. If you haven't played this deck, I highly suggest it. It's a deck list that I really enjoy playing, and it's one of my favorite ones here on the list. Colossal VMAX makes a return on our list this month at number 8 with 705 Pokestats CP. This list is fun, man. It's super cool. It's great to see another VMAX on this list, a newer one here. Came out in Vivid Voltage, was probably the only deck archetype that really came up in the meta from Vivid Voltage. However, I think that Scorch is pretty valid. People like Zach Lesage and Michelle Babin had a recently really great run with a newly revised Colossal list, which kind of breathed some life into this deck list, which really didn't see much play after those few weeks after it came out in Vivid Voltage. But if we look at the placements here, I got 4th at Limitless number 16, which was a big tournament there. 4th at Chill Series number 15, shout out to Michelle Babin, also a really big tournament. 4th at Advantage number 6 there, 9th at Sunday Open on the 10th, and 14th at Sunday Open on the 24th. Now, the placements haven't been super impressive with Colossal, but it's been pretty consistently placing within those top 16s. And overall, it's a deck list that I think is actually pretty impressive. Right now, the meta is not kind to Colossal. Things like Luke Metal do beat it, and it can struggle a lot of times in that early game, and sort of just struggling overall with consistency. But with this new and improved version of the deck list, I think that Colossal definitely has a pretty solid spot right now in the meta as a fighting-type VMAX Pokemon. In my opinion, it's definitely the best one that we have so far. 705 Pokestats CP is nothing to scoff at here. Of course, Oranguru is a really big factor in this list. It just sort of completes the combo. However, Rotom Phone is a card that really never sees play in other decks other than Colossal, and it's almost made for this deck. Of course, Eruption Shot, you discard the top card of your deck, and if that was an energy card, you do 90 more damage, but you also put it onto this Pokemon. So Rotom Phone is really good for looking at those top few cards of your deck, finding an energy, putting it at the top of your deck, or if you have Oranguru, you can search the top of your deck for maybe a supporter card that you might need or anything else. And then if you have that energy in hand, you can swap them out. So the combo is really real with Colossal. Stone Energy helps this deck out just a ton. It makes this thing an absolute beast with buff padding. You can take a look at the deck list that we have up here. Overall, I think Colossal is a very cool deck list. It's unique, and it's sort of the new version of Luke Metal. And once rotation happens, I feel like Colossal is probably going to be our front runner when it comes to these big, bulky, hard to KO, deck archetypes. So shout out to Colossal at number 8. And at number 7 this month, we actually have Mad Party. Now, this is the first time Mad Party has made it into any one of these best decks videos. So it's actually super cool to see it jump right up to the number 7 spot with 1,013 Pokestats CP. Nothing to scoff at. Mad Party is an impressive single prize archetype. Deck list that we have right now in the format. If we look at the placements, it got 1st at Sunday Open on the 24th, 2nd at Atlas Mini 16, 2nd at Mew Squad number 5, 3rd at Chill Series 16, and 3rd at LOS Weekly number 16. So some pretty impressive placements up there for Mad Party. It's interesting because, Mad Party, people didn't really take it too seriously for a while. It was sort of one of those, tier 3 lower tier decks. But recently, some people have just made just some minute changes to this overall accepted deck list, and it's really brought this deck into the forefront of the single prize archetype meta. Definitely one of the best single prize archetype decks that we have, and Mad Party is very, very impressive. In a little bit here, I'll put up the deck list on screen. A few things that I want to talk about. Of course, there's not too much variance when it comes to Mad Party lists. People are probably going to be playing the same Mad Party list that other people are playing. There's just not a whole lot of space in here to change things around. But one thing that people have done is inserted Giovanni's Exile into this deck list, which actually works extremely, extremely well. Now, this deck loves to use Dedenne. It's just very good for discarding your hand and drawing more cards. It just works very well with Mad Party. However, keeping those 2 prize Pokemon down on your bench can be very scary if you're going against things like ADP. However, Giovanni's Exile lets you, discard those Pokemon from your bench, after you've played them and used their abilities, things like Dedenne. So that's very good. This means that we can freely play our Dedennes, our Crobats, without really being afraid of them getting bossed up and KO'd for multiple prize cards, right? So effectively, this deck gets to use those great 2 prize support Pokemon without, our opponent taking multiple prizes. So it makes this deck just that much better. People have really begun to refine this deck list. People are learning how to play it at a high level. And with all these tournaments where ADP is banned, Mad Party sees actually quite a bit of success. So, big shout out to Mad Party at number 7, man. Hopefully we see it on this list in future months to come. And moving on to some familiar faces here on the list. At number 6, we have Blissful there from Unbroken Bonds. 1480 CP, so we are jumping up quite a bit here. Blissful, it's been on these lists, for the past 4 months since I've been doing these videos. It's an overall probably the best single prize archetype here on the deck list. And it's funny that it's only one spot above Mad Party, so both of these are actually becoming pretty even right now when it comes to sort of the power rankings. Blissful has actually just been extremely consistent. People haven't been playing it as much as they used to. I think Scorch is on the rise in terms of how many people are playing that deck, which kind of means that less people are playing Blissful overall and sort of less favored as a welder deck. People are playing other variants of Blissful these days, whether you call it Tempozard, whether you call it Crycephalon, as some people call it. That's a bit of a war going on, I suppose. But, for my money, if I'm playing Blissful, I'm just going to go all in and focus on Blissful. So that is the deck list that I will be showing here in a minute. It's just got a 4 count of Blissful, but there are other attackers that people are running. Before we get into that, though, let's take a look at the placements. I got first at Hexter Season 3, number 23, Gabe Smartman. Just probably one of the best players we have right now. That first place finish is impressive with Blissful. It's her only one, actually. It got second at Hexter number 22 as well. David Hendrickson, another fantastic player. Second at Atlas Mini number 12. Third at the GG Tour Cup number 3, Juan Andre there, which was definitely an impressive placement. And then third at the Sunday Open on the 10th. So the placements have been very impressive with Blissful. It's been very consistent. Not too many first place finishes. Not too many people playing Blissful these days, or at least not as much as it used to. However, Blissful is still extremely relevant. It's still a very impressive deck, even with all of these massive HP Pokemon that are running around like VMAXs. People are still playing, 1 or 2 Cramorants in the deck list, maybe 1 or 2 Reshizards as well. These are very good secondary attackers. It's kind of scary putting some, 2 and 3 prize Pokemon here in your single prize archetype deck list like Blounce, but they're very useful. In my opinion, I think you should be putting at least one Cramorant and 1 Reshizard in your list. Fire Crystal, extremely important to Blissful, as always, getting those energies out of your discard pile into your hand to hit that big damage. People are still running the Jirachi engine with Blissful. It just sort of seems like the best thing to do. You're running a 4 of Scoop Up Nets, 4 Jirachis. It's probably your best option to find those welders, to find those Fire Crystals late in the game. You can kind of get the loop going with Jirachi, find multiple cards for some absolutely devastating turns. So Blissful, man, it's a great deck list. I highly suggest that you guys still play it. It's still one of the best decks in the format, and in my opinion, it's a little bit underappreciated. And coming in at number 5, we have Luke Metal Zacian. Now, Luke Metal, man, it's still an extremely powerful deck right now in the format. It was my personal choice going into my Players' Cup qualifier matches, and I actually had a pretty decent amount of success with Luke Metal. I feel like it's been being played less and less as time goes on, but there are, a few high-level players that are, still continuing to play Luke Metal and seeing a lot of success with it. If you look at the placements here, I got first at Chill Series number 17. Shout out to Joshua Sutherland. This was actually the first time Luke Metal got first at our Chill Series tournaments. I got first at Atlas Mini number 12, second at Hexter number 19, second at Hexter number 20, and second as well at Hexter number 23. So, it's funny that it got so many second place finishes. However, Josh actually beat a Scorch in finals here at our Chill Series. So, with the inclusion of Stealthy Hood, to kind of get rid of those Zigzagoon pings, to get rid of the Phiones, and as well as the Giratina, which knocks off your coding energies. This deck has become that much more consistent. It's got 2,504 Pokestat CP, so, honestly, just an incredible month for Luke Metal, still, even with sort of the decrease in play that we've seen with it. But overall, it's, in my opinion, it's just still an incredibly powerful deck list. I think it definitely deserves to be up here in the top 5. Zamazenta is still an extraordinarily important card with this deck list. Not only do you focus on, reducing the damage that your Pokemon do, but Zamazenta, of course, it walls VMAX Pokemon, and VMAX Pokemon are becoming more and more relevant right now in the format. And this is a big reason why Luke Metal still has a pretty decent matchup against Scorch between things like Zamazenta V, Coding Energy, Stealthy Hood. That matchup is honestly not as bad as you think if you're a talented player and you're playing at a high level. So Stealthy Hood is extremely useful, as I just mentioned, but Malolana, man, just an incredible card in this deck list. Sometimes people are running 2 or even 3 Malolanas in Luke Metal. Just the healing effect while being able to switch is just extremely useful in Luke Metal, and a lot of times it's the difference between you getting KO'd in 2 hits and you getting KO'd in 3 hits, which is, of course, the difference. People are playing, Pokédolls as well. Pokédolls are extremely useful in this list. I don't have too much else to say about Luke Metal. It's still our good old Luke Metal, but now we have a little bit of spice thrown in with Stealthy Hood. So I would definitely, suggest that you go try it out. And if you're looking to find a deck for your Players Cup matches, Luke Metal could be the deck for you. And at number 4 this month, we actually have Pikachu and Zekrom GX. Pikarom, man, it's crazy to me that it's actually number 4 on this list. All of these top 5 decks could really be switched around, and the rankings are definitely really close. It's got 2,887 Pokestats CP, so nothing to scoff at, and the placements are absolutely phenomenal. First at Hexer's number 24. First at LOS Weekly number 17 and 16. First at Hexer number 18, and first at the Sunday Open on the 10th. A lot of great players are still choosing to play Pikarom, and in my opinion, it's still one of the best decks in the format. It just has it all. It's super impressive. Bolton makes this card just that much better. You have access to things like Mewtwo and Mew GX, and of course, Crushing Hammers go very well in Pikarom as well. People are choosing to run multiple Yell Grunts as well in Pikarom. It's just an incredibly powerful list. In my opinion, it's not seeing as much play as it should. Ever since Zach Lesage sort of refined this list and upgraded it with the Mewtwo GX inclusion, won the Players' Cup 2, it saw an incredible amount of play there for about, I would say probably for about a month or so. And then it kind of fell off, and people just haven't been playing it. But the people that are playing it are seeing, a wide variety of success. Vitor Lugan is a fantastic player, and then of course Mike Fouché there, Magnichu, just an incredible player in his own right, and has seen just a massive amount of success with Pikarom. I can't really say too much about Pikarom. It's just, in my opinion, it might even be the best deck in the format, if you ask me, but, a lot of people are kind of disrespecting it, and that's kind of a strong word, but for the most part, people just aren't really giving it the time of day like they used to. Overall, yeah, this deck list, it's ever since like that inclusion was added with Mewtwo GX and the Hammers, maybe some Yell Grunts, it's just overall, it hasn't changed too much. So when you're placing Pikarom, you kind of know what the deck list is going to look like. You know what their strategy is. So, and to that respect, it's a little bit one-dimensional, but it's still impressive. If this thing goes second, gets that Boltoned off, maybe gets a Tapu Koko off that turn, and hits a Hammers, there's just nothing that you can possibly do. This deck is just super impressive. In my opinion, it still has a really good ADP matchup. And maybe because ADP was banned in recent tournaments, that's sort of a big reason why people aren't playing Pikachu Zekrom. I'm not even sure. I don't know. But Pikachu and Zekrom is number 4th on our list, even though it's got a massive amount of first place finishes. Play more Pikarom. And at the 3rd spot on this month's list, we have Scorch VMAX. In my opinion, the best welder deck right now in the format. It's funny because there's still just a massive amount of very talented players that are choosing to play Scorch in some of these tournaments. And for that reason, I think that this deck has really seen a boost, not only in play, but in success. It's got 2,967 Pokestats CP, so way up there this month. If we look at the placements, it got first at the GG Tour Cup number 3, shout out to Ian Ropp. First at the Chill TCG Cup number 2, Thomas Brophy. Second at Chill Series Cup number 15, Pedro Torres. And first at Hexter Season 3 number 20. And then first at the Sunday Open on the 3rd as well with Thomas Brophy again, man. So, Thomas, Pedro, and Ian are just fantastic players. Edwin, 1999 there, another fantastic player. I think he just won that LOS Major as well. So, just a wide variety of very good players playing Scorch. I think that's really sort of bolstered its status this month on the list. And, there's actually been a couple of new variants of Scorch that have popped up. So I think on the list, I'm just going to put up the old classy Scorch nets, the Senti nets, or ability Scorch, as some people call it. That's the deck list that was sort of well refined by Cash Vinderman and Thomas Brophy. The deck list that is widely accepted as sort of the best Scorch list. However, there are a few different variants of Scorch that people are choosing to play these days. Pedro Torres had an impressive win there at Chill Series 15 with a newly sort of designed Scorch list, which included Silvally GX. Now, people are still playing this list. It's still seeing, a lot of success. Overall, I wouldn't say that it's as consistent as, ability Scorch in terms of its results. But overall, that Silvally can really help sort of boost the consistency of the deck overall. I just think that the matchup spread isn't as good if you're not sort of including things like the Jirachi engine and Giratina and a few other cards. Reshizard, people are implementing Reshizard in Scorch. It's just sort of a really good card as sort of a secondary attacker to Scorch. Not only do you not have to evolve into Reshizard, it's a basic Pokemon, but you can do 200 damage for 3 and 230 for 4, and it's really easy to set up Scorch, and it does hit through Decidueye and really any card in the format there with the GX attack. You can do 300 for 6. It's just a really great secondary option. In this deck list for sure. Giratina, it's incredibly useful. People are running Giratina in this list so that you can knock off the coding energies from Luke Metal and really any special energies, which are, pretty commonly played right now in the format. Scorch VMAX, in my opinion, it's definitely the best welder deck in the format right now. I think people should still play it. It's incredibly powerful. And over time, people are just making the list more and more consistent. So shout out to everybody on this list playing Scorch. I think that it's a fantastic list, and it definitely does deserve that number 3 spot this month. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Look at this, guys. Number 2 on our list is actually ADP Zacian. It actually makes me smile just to say that it's not number 1 on our list this month. And it does have 3,301 Pokestat CP, so it's still seeing an enormous amount of play and quite a bit of success as well. But, I'm just happy to say that ADP Zacian isn't our number 1 deck this month. If we look at the placements, first at Hexters, Season 3, number 19. Second at Chill Series 16. Third at Hexters, number 23. Fourth at Chill Series 17. And fourth at Hexters, number 22. So, it's still seeing a lot of play, still seeing a lot of success. But overall, if you compare the placements here to things like Pikachu or Scorch, it's really just, it's not as impressive. In terms of sort of its overall success, I think, this past month. Only 1 first-place finish as far as I could see, whereas Senti and Pikachu had plenty of first-place finishes. But overall, people are still playing ADP. It gets a ton of top 8s, top 4s, top 16s, and whatnot. So that's why, of course, its CP ranking is so high. I'm not going to, go too much into ADP. I'm just happy that it's not number 1 this month. However, this list has slightly been changed recently. Sometimes people are including Zamazenta V, sometimes people are including Aegislash V to get over that Decidueye matchup. But for the most part, I think that people are still focusing around that Mawile tech, the 4 of Saucer, the Boss's Orders, Great Catchers, all that good stuff that ADP loves to do. A lot of times, actually, we've seen that people aren't running hammers in ADP, which I know was extremely sort of relevant and common in recent months with ADP, but now people are kind of focusing around consistency. They're running maybe a 4 of energy switch. Maybe they're running multiple energy spinners to find those water energies. So consistency ADP has really sort of been the front runner this past month there, and I think Vina is pretty commonly running that deck there. You see him at number 1. He actually includes things like Skyla in his list, which you see there, and that Hoopa as well, the Evil Admonition Hoopa, which is pretty hilarious, but for the most part, it kind of makes the deck a little bit more well-rounded than it typically is. So, I'm just glad that ADP isn't just dominating the format anymore. It's kind of taken a back seat to our number 1 spot on the list, which I'm sure you guys can guess. Yeah, man, ADP Zacian number 2. Stop playing ADP, guys. No, I'm just kidding. Play it as much as you want. All right, guys, and at the number 1 spot this month, we have Eternitus VMAX. Now, I don't know if any of you guys really expected Eternitus to be number 1 on this list, but for the most part, over this past month, it's been extremely consistent. This deck is super powerful, and it's sort of seen a wide variety of different variants as well, which is actually kind of impressive for a deck list like this that's seen so much success. We'll go over the different archetypes here in a minute, but if we look at sort of the CP, 4,033, just an incredible month for Eternitus, seeing a whole lot of play and a whole lot of success. If you look at the placements here, first at Chill Series number 18, Michelle Babin just all over these lists, man. First at Hexer number 22, first at Hexer number 21, first at Chill Series number 16, and first at the Sunday Open on the 17th, as well as just plenty of other placements that Eternitus has gotten. In my opinion, it's probably the best deck, especially right now for best of 1 tournaments. It's just people are making this list more and more consistent. You can kind of change sort of the details of this list to kind of fit the format right now. The Crobat engine is fantastic, 340 HP, fantastic. The attack, incredible. And it's just, I don't know, it kind of makes sense to me that it's number 1 on this list. But I think as time, has kind of passed and people are, more and more being able to obtain these cards for this deck list, it's a lot more viable to obtain and to play than it used to be right about a month ago. So I think that makes sense as to why more people are playing Eternitus VMAX. But, overall, it's probably the most terrifying and the most, dominant deck right now in the format. I think this and Scorch are just right up there. ADP, of course, was number 2, but in my opinion, Etern and Scorch are the 2 best decks right now, so it's cool to see VMAX is actually being at the forefront of the meta. There's different variants for Eternitus. Of course, when this deck came out, people were just playing straight Etern with like 4 of Zigzagoon, Scoop Up Nets, and whatnot, and that deck list was fine, and then it kind of, turned into a poison variant for a little bit there. With Galarian Slowbro V, things like Toxicroak to boost damage. The poison was extremely impressive. You're running Dark City to give that thing free retreat, maybe hiding energies as well. That deck list was very impressive. Of course, it focused around hitting just massive amounts of damage in 1 turn, which is very, very impressive. But for the most part, I don't think that list was as consistent as sort of other builds that people were playing, so it's seen a little bit less play, the Poison variant. These days, people are running straight Disruption E-Turn with like a 4 of hammers, maybe some dangerous drills. Maybe they're running Power Plant. Power Plant is extremely good in Eternitus, so take a look at that deck list that we have up here on the screen for Eternitus. In my opinion, this is probably the best way to play it. And you don't even need to run stadiums with E-Turn. It doesn't really rely on any stadiums. And if you are going to run a stadium, I would say, you probably maybe run 1 or 2 swells or maybe 1 or 2 power plants if you really want to focus on that disruption. But for the most part, man, Eternitus, it's just so powerful. It's just so consistent these days as well. And best of one, if you get a good run with E-Turn, man, you're probably making it all the way. So, big shout out to Eternitus VMAX, number 1 on the spot this month. And maybe it'll be up there next month as well. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I've been Matty from Chill TCG. Before you guys go, I want to let you guys know that the Chill Series number 19 is actually this Wednesday. We run these Chill Series tournaments every single week here on Wednesday night, so definitely go check them out. Link will be down in the description below, and I'll put the image up here on screen. And actually, Chill TCG as well as the Chill Series events are now sponsored by Card Cavern Trading Cards, so definitely go check them out at cardcavern.com. Card Cavern is an incredible website, guys, so thank you so much to them for sponsoring. Thank you guys so much for watching, and playing the Chill Series tournament, and I will see you guys next month for another 10 Best Decks video.